பரவசத்தில் ஆழ்ந்திட பூமி காக்கும் நித்தியனை நான் வாரி அணைத்திட பூமி காக்கும் நித்தியனை நான் வாரி அணைத்திட அருணை மலையில் அழகு கடவுள் அவதரித்தது அருணை மலையில் அழகு கடவுள் அவதரித்தது கடவுள் அவதரித்தது கடவுள் அவதரித்தது.
Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadhilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami.
Nithyananda, we welcome all of you to today's exciting episode on Nithyananda TV. I am Srinitya Brahmasukhananda Maharaj, and we have with us again today Srinitya Rajananda Maharaj. Nithyananda Maharaj. Yes. So today we are bringing a very exciting topic to you. This topic is very much related to our day-to-day lifestyle, the fundamentals of how we are, consuming the essence from the nature and how we are growing up, how we are building ourselves at the physical level, mental level, and the conscious level as well. The context which we are bringing to you is that of food, and in particular about the vegetarian lifestyle and how vegetarian lifestyle is the best lifestyle then that the human beings can have. Now, unfortunately, there's a lot of politicization about this topic, and many times emotions get involved, but we are bringing to you from the perspective of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam, just looking at it logically, scientifically, and analyzing what this whole vegetarian lifestyle is all about and what are the benefits of this kind of a lifestyle. Isn't it, Maharaj?
Yes, Maharaj. The vegetarian lifestyle, so much the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has given us about how the vegetarian lifestyle is so engrossed in the very Hindu's DNA.
Yes.
When we are able to express so much amount of being part of the whole world's intelligentsia and being able to be successful in many parts of our life, in the fields out there, in technology, in governance, and in many parts of the world, how Hindus are able to make it. It also has to do, we've been talking a lot about how it's also due to the stable family unit, but the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has also revealed to us that it is just because we have vegetarian brains, literally have the literal body that is nurtured by nature from just having the food that is organic, the food that is cruelty-free. So it comes down to the very food that you eat. What is there on your plate?
Yes, exactly. So many aspects are revolving around this whole subject of vegetarianism. The whole aspect of violence and cruelty-free, as you mentioned. Another aspect of the gunas of nature, according to the whole Hindu understanding of our nature, of the whole universe, the three gunas, right? Rajas, Sattva, and Tamas. How the food, the kind of food that we are consuming is contributing to the increase in that kind of guna in our body, in our whole psychology itself, which in turn affects how we are living our life, how we are perceiving the reality itself. That is another aspect. Then the another aspect is the day-to-day practical scientific level. What happens when we eat a particular kind of food, let's say vegetarian food or non-vegetarian food? What effects does it have on our physiology, day-to-day functioning of our body? So it's physiological level, then the deeper psychological level, and where all the trigunas, the three gunas of nature, that aspect comes in, and ultimately to the very cognitions about violence and what happens when we consume something which is begotten from violence itself. What happens to that food? The whole thing we are going to look at in the scientific aspect, as directly has been shared by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, about this awesome ultimate lifestyle of vegetarianism. And as you said, Maharaj, it's only because of Hindus that the world is having so many vegetarian people, right? In fact, it is only the Hindu civilization that is protecting and nurturing and celebrating this kind of lifestyle on the planet in the bulk, right? Otherwise, we have seen people, just because of their lifestyle choices, or somehow they feel that, you know, we should move away from this whole violence based diet or whatever it is. So some people in small pockets are following this or starting to follow this lifestyle. But as a very being, as a very day-to-day aspect of your life, as a very breathing, this coming naturally as a part of our life is something which is unique to Hindu civilization. So again, as we discussed, the civilizational differences, how it affects to even the success rate in day-to-day life, isn't it?
Yes, actually, I feel we are the only indigenous civilizations, the collection of indigenous civilizations that actually made it out into the world, and and made it out into the world, being able to be so modern, being able to be so technologically advanced today, because we have such basic lifestyle habits that really help promote the happy chemicals in our bodies that prevent the deterioration of our bodies at a very fast rate. So one of the things that we have to also have to understand is our history. Ancient humans were vegetarians. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism reveals that from the Akashic records that the Vedic civilization was pure vegetarian. They were not non-vegetarian civilization. They were not non-vegetarian civilization. They were a few animal sacrifices and a few rituals, but it's not like the whole year everybody's eating meat. Vegetarianism was part of an everyday lifestyle. Hence, even see the amount of variety when it comes to your market. When you go to the way that the availability of vegetarian options are there in your civilization, or just if you just look around in your neighborhood and just see the amount of vegetarian options that you have, vegetables, and this whole variety of just nutritious lifestyle, you'll see that it is the richest when it comes to the Hindu lifestyle. We are surrounded by, and wherever we go also, we surround ourselves by these vegetarian options.
Exactly, because the Hindus have mastered the whole the culinary sciences of vegetarian lifestyle, because thousands and thousands of years we have been practicing this kind of a lifestyle, and all the benefits that come with it. You can go on and on, even in our day-to-day success, how Hindus are the most successful people. As Swamiji himself has put it, the vegetarian lifestyle grows very subtle grooves in the brain itself. The whole brain chemistry and brain physiology, all things are completely getting rewired with this whole vegetarian lifestyle, which in turn affects our accomplishments, how we live our life, how we do the goal setting, how we accomplish and how we achieve those goals. Each and every aspect of our life gets directly impacted by the food that we eat, because ultimately we are what we eat, right? And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has also reiterated this statement again and again. We are what we eat. The food that we eat becomes us. Ultimately.
And even in today's world, we're able to make the fruits and the fruits and everything, make it happen wherever we go. It is not in the olden days where only limited things will be there. You'll be able to get roots or things like this in the winter time. No, it is at any time in the year you'll be able to have. The modernization has given this ability to us to have any vegetable that we want in almost any time of the year, of course. And the thing is, we see also the so much of actual climate effect, and even decisions to deforest thousands and thousands of acres. Just deforest thousands and thousands of acres of land just to make grazing ground for cattle. And that is because of the non-vegetarian industries have done so much in the slaughtering and the butcheries they have done so much to franchise and make it into some kind of a billion-dollar, trillion-dollar kind of industry.
It is in fact a billion-dollar industry. It might even be $1 trillion. Who knows?
Yes.
But ultimately, the fact is, on both scales, mass scale violence that is happening because of that species. Ultimately, the whole animals, the way they are, grown, cultivated in that in those what do you call it, slaughterhouses, farmhouses, whatever, and then butchered at a mass level. This kind of cruelty, violence is not something which is befitting for an advanced civilization at all. Second is that what happens is because of this this grand at such a grand scale, when you have to feed these animals, so much of the crop area, the cultivated area on the planet Earth gets used only for the non-vegetarian industry. So a lot of food crops which could be used to feed hungry people is not reaching the people where it is needed, but it is reaching these slaughterhouses where animals are grown and fed to the people who can afford that kind of a lifestyle. That is also one aspect. Another aspect is where, again, as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism put it, the largest amount of carbon footprint on the planet Earth is not because of some automobile industry, pollution, this, that. No, it is because of this non-vegetarian industry. So much of carbon footprint because there's so much of deforestation is happening, so much of this methane gas is also released because of so much of crop cutting and everything that is happening. Even the slaughterhouses, when the cows or whatever animals they munch on that grass, so much of methane is. But when we see in one or two instances, it may not be a big quantity, but at such a huge level, when we combine, and cumulative effect of this is huge and catastrophic for the planet. That's why the data, the statistics itself reveal that the largest amount of carbon footprint on planet Earth is because of this animal husbandry industry, the non-vegetarian industry. So it is an alarming sign, and human civilization and planet Earth in particular cannot take this burden of this whole non-vegetarian industry for long. That's also a statement the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism put it. We have to wake up. We have to change our lifestyle immediately. And that's why we are bringing this topic, that there is a there's an ultimate lifestyle already available with us, an option already we have, which a civilization, the Hindu civilization, has been practicing for thousands and thousands of years, successfully demonstrating it as the successful model, what to eat, how it benefits our system, our physical system, mental system, and ultimately even in our spiritual aspect. For spiritual aspects, straight away, Swamiji says, you have to be a vegetarian, right?
Absolutely, Maharaj. And also, if you see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's work, he's reviving Hinduism and doing the basic work of giving people the Siva Diksha, where they have to be a vegetarian as a part of their lifestyle, as a Hindu lifestyle, as a Shiva Bhakta, the one who's going to be worshipping Shiva in the temple. That person is going to have to live a vegetarian lifestyle. And also, because of the vegetarian lifestyle, he's able to enhance himself and deepen his devotion to Paramashiva, and really have and receive the initiation when we have the initiation of the Shiva Diksha. All of these are all the revival that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is doing, really bringing the vegetarian lifestyle back as it was in the Shastras, and giving the opportunity. If you see if you give, it is not just just to come back to vegetarianism and you'll have to search for what kind of food you have to make. That is not the situation and the way he's bringing. If you come back to the vegetarian lifestyle, you have a wealth of options. And if you see the way that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving the Annadanam, 11 items, 21 items, the variety and the amount of diversity and the amount of ingredients are required for cooking. That is so beneficial, that's so healthy for the people.
And very important to say that Paramashiva himself has given and created a manual for the whole cooking and how food, what is the best kind of food suitable for us in our even our day-to-day aspects of our life, and ultimately for our enlightenment. In the whole Bhaga Shastra, right? Entire scripture dedicated to food and dedicated to the culinary sciences of Hinduism, directly given by Paramashiva, proves that it is a fundamental part of the Hindu culture and Hindu religion itself, and how this vegetarianism is being revived for this reason by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam.
Yes. So when we have the food that is non-vegetarian, how does it affect the body? How does it damage ours? Because the lifestyle or the situation in which the animal that you are having is living in, that is the same kind of a reflection that you will have inside your own life now after you have the food. Because as I think the proverb says, you are what you eat. And that is literally what will happening. And what is it that we are, the non-vegetarian industry, and they're giving the bio memories of a fear of a animal that is living in fear and depression, that is bred only to be bulked up and then eaten. That is not the lifestyle. Like the beautiful way of the Hindu way of literally taking care of the goshalas of the animals is literally creating another kind of a enlightened ecosystem in itself. How the goshala is kept, how the cow should be attended to. All of these are there in agamas, and how regularly the cow should be attended to, how the cow should go for grazing when it should go, and how it should be taken care. It is a science in itself, and in taking care of Gomata, so much of prosperity, so much of bliss. Because once the Gomata is satisfied, is happy, you will see that it being alive, literally, and in your presence, can do so much of benefit to you than you having to consume one more cow that is dead and completely depressed. And
complete contrast. We can say black and white in this case. How, one side the animal is being completely slaughtered and butchered for your own food, and here the same animal is being worshipped as a divine being and served and with the best kind of devotion
and loved. That is it. It is filled with love. The bio memory of the Gomata has the ability to heal any type of violence that you have inside your body. There is so much of opportunity for people to really heal from their patterns when they do the Go Seva. Those the bio memory and muscle memories that a Gomata that is worshipped every day, that she gives to a person, is so healing, and it is so beautiful. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism goes on telling us the benefit and the opportunity when we have a Gomata in our lives. He tells us that when Devi Gomata is introduced to him, he was introduced to her as his second mother, literally. After your mother, this Gomata is taking care of you. She's taking care of everything for you. So she is the one who's your mother. Like that, we literally relate with the cows in our life.
So naturally, because when we see the same, for example, cow, Gomata, how much of what kind of a bio memory does cow possess, Gomata possess? The extremely loving and healing based bio memory and muscle memory. And the same we are destroying in the slaughterhouses. So naturally, the karma will come to the human civilization, and we have to address this issue of what happens is karma, and each and everything is actually true. It is all real. Because when we are destroying, when we are killing an animal, especially an animal who is already sensitive towards the subtle emotions of love and care and healing, right? It incurs a higher and more worse reaction, so to speak, in the karmic sense on our biomemory, because we incur the same biomemory and muscle memory of the animal we are killing and then eating, right? Same biomemory and muscle memory becomes part of us, and ultimately we have to suffer that karma. It becomes our karma itself. Already first animal, see, so many aspects are there. First thing is the violence that is happening and the karma which is incurred because of that. Second is on an evolutionary scale, if we judge the whole thing, right? Naturally we are hardwired to evolve towards evolution, and what we see is the beings who are more and more evolved, their diet becomes more and more subtle, more and more refined. For example, devatas, their diet is simply the smell of the food that we offer to them. They don't even partake in the food, the gross, the solid food, so to speak, or even liquid, right? They just smell it. That smell is itself enough for them to literally partake. That is their food. So more and more we evolve, our food also evolves. Our food also goes through those changes, and we move towards the sattva guna of the nature, right? Our food also becomes more sattvic in nature. Sattvic is the guna, three gunas, right? Sattva guna, rajoguna, and tamoguna. Sattvic food, or the sattvic guna, is the guna, the aspect of nature or the quality which enhances the restful awareness in us, right? Which takes us more and more towards our inner being, towards our consciousness. It is more aligned with peace, joy, bliss, right? All these things. Rajoguna is more agitation based, more violence based, and tamas is more just lethargy, sleep, withdrawal from life. We see all kinds of food they fall under any of each of these categories, right? Vegetarian food, most of it falls under the sattvic category because it's fresh, it's alive, and it doesn't have any of those qualities which would trigger either withdrawal, sleep, depression, or even agitation. Non-vegetarian food, as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism he puts it, is more can be classified in the rajo-tamasic category, which has the combination of rajas and tamas. So when we eat more and more of this non-vegetarian diet, we are going against our whole evolutionary push, which is naturally wired and programmed to push us more and more towards sattva, more and more towards the higher subtle energies in our body, in our mind, in our consciousness. And so naturally, it is something which we are doing against our own evolution. So in cosmic sense, it is a crime, because anything that we do against our natural tendency to evolve is a crime against us that we are doing, right? So in that sense, also another aspect which we can discuss about this whole vegetarianism versus non-vegetarian debate is about simply scientifically seeing the repercussions, the results of this food, and what is the result of that food. Vegetarian, what is the result? Non-vegetarian, what is the result? What happens to the evolution of the being? What kind of muscle memory and biomemory does that being possess once they consume a particular kind of diet, and what they have to do? So naturally, any diet which takes us more and more towards sattvic qualities, which make us more and more capable of manifesting powers, of being in the restful awareness state, completion, whatever, which supports all those qualities, all those things, are the best lifestyle for us. And any food or any other habits which take us away from these qualities are naturally not beneficial for us. So that's also one of the aspects which the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has brought out in the whole how vegetarian lifestyle is the best lifestyle. And actually scientifically explaining to the people, especially the younger generation, because one positive thing is they are open to logic, they are open to discussion, they are open to a natural debate and discussion about these aspects, instead of just putting things in the bad, right and wrong boxes, or moralistic, because we are not talking about morality here. We are simply talking about science. Let's see what are the pros and cons of each kind of lifestyle. It's simple, the statistics are out there. The success of Hindus in today's world, it is because of these lifestyle choices which were taken thousands and thousands of years ago by our ancestors. So those choices and the effect of those choices is still there in our DNA. We may not even know that that is the reason, but because of those reasons, we are successful in each and every aspect of our life, right? Education, money, wealth. We see anywhere in the world, the Hindu community, the ethnic community is the most prosperous, they are the richest, they are the most non-violent also. Non-violence, again, comes directly with these food habits. And there's a direct correlation between your basic lifestyle choices, food, the kind of families, like a stable family, all these simple things, and all these parameters of violence, how much violence a community has, what kind of education does the community have, what kind of contribution the community is making, which can be gauged by the wealth that the community is having. So many of these aspects, we can simply put the statistics out there and prove that vegetarian lifestyle is indeed the best lifestyle that human beings can have in order to succeed in each and every aspect of their life, including enlightenment.
Yes, Maharaj. Also, you had mentioned that karma has, you'll acquire karma, and
Yes.
that I wanted to tell from understanding of how it will actually happen.
Okay.
When you have non-vegetarian food, the thing is, karma is like, it comes when you have gone into bondage again. Yes, when you put yourself in a situation where you are going to rely on some kind of a taste to come back again and again in your life. When you rely on this kind of a taste of food to come back again and again, then in that moment, when you realize that you are indulging in something that is going to make you more and more dependent on it for your happiness, or for your feel good feeling, or whatever it maybe the instant gratification that it gives you, that moment you can understand karma has come. That is the moment you can understand that when you are being able to see that this, depending on this, is creating some kind of a need in me, then the karma has settled. And that is how the whole that's how you know that
Yes.
it has come. So moment anybody starts having the vegetarian food and having the diet, the going back to the vegetarian diet becomes something like, why? Why should we do it? Because this question of why comes, the
Yeah.
whole delusion and the whole the way that the karma has come back into someone's life. You can just see that it's just a result of them making that decision
Yes.
and them deciding that they want to become have this type of cuisine, and they won't go back, and that's when you can know that the karma has settled it. And that's
one more point is that if you actually follow the Bhag Shastra, even vegetarian meals can be much more tasty than whatever we think as the taste is in other kinds of meals, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
But at the same time, liberating for us from the very taste, being
Yes.
tasty, and at the same time liberating us from the whole bondage of taste as well.
That's
That's
the
the
real
interesting thing.
that's the real kind of the food that
Yes.
lets you at the end feel liberated from needing it,
Needing food
feeling
itself.
food that
Yes.
helps you go beyond food, and that is Paramashiva's Bhag Shastra.
Yes.
And we have learned that the type of food always has three types of components. It is how it can become impure. It can become impure by its nature, by its muscle memory, or by the person's handling it. That is the three kind of the doshas that are explained in
You
this.
mean even the person who is cooking, his own thought currents, muscle memory, his own biomemory get into the food that the person is cooking.
Yes.
Wow.
When
So
you
interesting, and so much of depth in these discussions. I think we should invite people to put their comments out there before you can continue, because so much of discussion and debate needs to happen on these issues. Uh, Proper scientific discussion on what is the benefits, why something is right, why something is wrong, and when people putting out their comments, their questions, their doubts, anything, it just makes the whole discussion even more meaningful and more fruitful and have more depth, and gives us also an opportunity to enrich people more. So we invite all the viewers to put out your comments out there, any thing that you want, any opinion that you have about this whole topic today of vegetarianism, and any doubts, any questions, or anything in specific you want to discuss, or you want to know from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism about his opinion on any aspect of the lifestyle, Hindu lifestyle. Yes, Maharaj, I'm sorry I cut you, but please you can continue.
Yes, actually the three types of dosha that we can understand
Yes.
are the jati dosha, nimitta dosha, and ashraya dosha. So jati dosha is by its nature, it is if it is a food that is acquired by stealing, depriving someone else, or hurting or paining something else.
Wow.
In that way, that food itself, it'll be rooted in anxiety, because you want to quickly grab something and it's snatched away. So from your side, and from the fear that comes out when it is taken away from something, all of that is there in the food. So when it is coming from an animal, the flesh of an animal, it is not growing its flesh to feed anybody. It is growing its flesh to protect its internal organs. That is different whole purpose of it. And that is why it is by nature itself, it is stolen from an animal. That is literally the concept. That is called the jati dosha. That is the negative.
And also the animal is not blessing the one who's killing it, right? It's not blessing the person and saying, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, please be peaceful, be happy. It's not saying that. It's in extreme fear and anxiety and remorse about its whole life that is being taken away. Everything, all those emotions and all the chemicals which are part of those emotions get into our system when we consume that food, that animal.
Yes. And the way that the nimitta dosha is, how the way the food comes to someone, when it comes to someone, the non-vegetarian food comes with so much of anger, fear, depression, biomemories inside it. It is never, it can never be anywhere near pure food. That is the nimitta dosha. Means, as you said, Maharaj, it's going to be loaded with so much of the negativity and fear.
Oh, so that falls under the nimitta dosha category,
Yes.
right? That kind of impurity.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we have the ashraya dosha. It also is why the food can become impure by those who cook it, those who have the thought currents of anger or depressive thought currents. If they handle the food, that food will also contain the same muscle memory or biomemory. And the non-vegetarian food is touched by people who kill the animal. So anything they do, they are the murderer who handled it. So if the murderer is caring, then it will be a poison and his contribution to the food, which is absolutely negative. And in these three ways, the food, non-vegetarian food, carries the impurities.
Impurity. I don't think, Maharaj, that the materialistic based civilization can even grasp any of this even remotely. Because how will they understand all this? That by touching the food, the qualities get into the food, and those same qualities are getting into you. They cannot explain. We have to show them some protons and neutrons. They're just stuck with that. But when you understand from the cognitions, the powerful cognitions of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, the enlightenment science, the super science, which is given to us by Paramashiva himself, the creator, is not, as we said yesterday, it cannot be even equated to God. It's much more than God, because even the Panchakritya and even the unmanifest aspect, we combining all together, Paramashiva is much, much, much more than God. So any of this, when we talk about from that perspective, we really begin to understand all these things, how they really operate, right? From the depth, from the oneness, how each and every aspect is related, how matter and the energy are also the two sides of the same coin, and right? So all of this, the whole working of this, whole science of this becomes more and more digestible when we start getting into the sciences, the ultimate sciences and secrets of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, which are getting revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself. Yes, Maharaj, please continue.
Actually, the way that vegetarian food, on the contrary, is a natural part of the whole bioenergy. With the vegetarian diet, the thinking becomes more subtle and settled. The agitation, aggression, everything disappears, and we experience a healing in our muscle memories, a healing in our bio memories. And the food itself it nourishes us to at a whole different level. And you were also telling us that the Western people won't understand when you touch the food or all these dosha concepts. Actually, many benefits or many problems are there with those who are non-vegetarians with their digestive systems, who have digestive systems so naturally cannot digest meat. It is not created for that. It is created to digest the plant food and the grain-based food, and that is what it is. And when it comes to those who have the non-vegetarian diet, their digestion is absolutely they need to consume additives to their digestion to help the digestion even happen,
because it's not even meant for that.
Yes,
right?
because it is not meant for that, and it's so much of that residue and so much of the animal's product, being, or the animal's muscle memory, biomemory stays inside of us. It cannot be digested. In fact, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism said that even the digestion power of a human has the ability to digest even karmas, to digest thought currents, and literally make them into nothing, make them digest them and make them into energy. So in the same way, if we have such power within us, the digestive system that is there supposed to be even able to digest karmas in itself, then we have that we're loading that with the food that will just put it off, and it is not.
It's like putting the fire off, right? A fire is there, instead of nurturing it and using it for the right purpose, is dumping the whole garbage onto that fire and putting it out. So that's what we are doing with the wrong kind of diet that we are following, and the wrong lifestyle that we are following. And even one aspect, when we started, you mentioned that when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism said that the earlier human beings were not non-vegetarian, they were actually vegetarian, feeding on whatever the nature was giving. It's completely contrary to the narrative which we are being fed, isn't it, Maharaj?
Yes.
The early man, so to speak, the caveman, was completely dependent on non-vegetarian hunter, and so to speak, only dependent on animal flesh and all that. But the reality is completely different.
No, it is absolutely not. If you want to have this kind of a narrative as your history, that you came from hunter-gatherer civilization, then you understand that the gathering was more of the work, because the gathering part of the work would have been the most of the person's day job, to just go pluck and create the agriculture, create the ecosystem environment. Of course, they have those who had a nomadic kind of lifestyle. They had this kind of a lifestyle of needing to immediately have some kind of instant kind of food, so they would rely on the small animals that they eat. But it wasn't like it was
just an exception, and exception is not the rule.
Yeah.
The mainstream practices, the mainstream lifestyle was naturally living off of nature, raw diet or vegetarian diet, whatever it is. But that was the mainstream diet practiced. And that is a true narrative. And when you talk about the real Hindu history, the real Hindu narrative, all these things also become a part of it. Because right now, even the sole aspect of giving the wrong history about the diet, somebody is benefiting from teaching this wrong history, right? So that's why teaching the right history will naturally be not disincentivizing the people who are involved in this industry. So we have to understand all these subtle aspects as well, that why teaching the right history, the right narrative, even about the basic things like food and what kind of lifestyle human beings were practicing from the early days. It actually has a practical significance in our day-to-day life, and the kind of food we are even offered in our so even in our surroundings, because even the cities today, as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism put it in one of his satsang, they have become like open prisons. Only food like products, but no food.
I see. Yes.
Right. Remember that
yes,
satsang?
yes.
Awesome satsang it was. Basically, all whatever it looks like food, whatever is offered in restaurants and marketplaces, whatever it is, it's not real food. It just looks like food.
Yeah.
That is the kind, and the whole humanity is trapped in this grid of food.
Yeah.
Right. Food itself is being used to enslave people. So in that kind of a circumstance, the teaching the right and narrative about food, the history, right history, what is the right kind of food, how growing our own food, and rejuvenating our own ourselves with the sattvic vegetarian diet, how it can be beneficial to us and the entire society. Even the economy of the society can go through a complete breakthrough, as we even mentioned in the Annadan. How offering the free food service, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving this entire Hindu civilization through this narrative about food, and giving the right food to people, and that to free means it's a statement that food will not be used to enslave people, to bind people. That is unfortunately happening today. So all of these things that so beautifully tied into this whole discussion about vegetarian diet versus non-vegetarian diet. We can just go on and on. What do you have to say about it?
Actually, the final things that we have to tell everyone is that if you are a spiritual person, if you're a person seeking spiritual life, you have to follow a vegetarian lifestyle. It is, if one understands this truth, that you become what you eat, and what you eat becomes you.
Yes.
One can see very clearly how the non-vegetarian food adversely impacts the biomemory and muscle memory, and how vegetarian food comes to you with higher intelligence, like producing energy directly from ether, air, and space, and going to become part of you. So the vegetarian diet promotes the spiritual life, to be able to cognize how even the yogis are able to live without food, live beyond food, and be able to find nurturing from nourishment from the life and the ether around them. In fact, this is even a part of everyone's life. Just the fasting, then the diets, and all of these vratas that are taken are a way to make people understand that the food and the way that you consume is just one part of your life. It isn't what you work for all day. It isn't everything that you are. And when you work towards this, you are living a life of higher intelligence and using that higher intelligence. And Hinduism has all of the solutions and even the recipes for being able to live the life of the higher science, the Hinduism.
Exactly. And the higher science is that of power manifestation, isn't it?
Yes. It is this food only, that when you have this food, you can even do the power manifestations that the Supreme Pontiff, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has clearly told that there's a key code, like a source code inside creating the power manifestation science. When it comes to a being able to express extraordinary powers, the basic requirement right now in today's consciousness is they have to be vegetarian. That will only be able to, that kind of a biomemory must be able to only be able to radiate Paramashiva and manifest powers.
No, that's the kind of significance the vegetarian diet has on our, the expression of our true reality itself, because even that can get blocked with the non-vegetarian diet, because power manifestation is our birthright. It is what we are hardwired to do. But just because of the wrong choices, lifestyle choices, especially when it comes to food, the whole possibility can be blocked in this very birth, right? And that's the whole, when Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism talks about the reviving this whole science of giving superconscious breakthrough to humanity and making the whole humanity manifest superconscious powers of Paramashiva. main, that's why he puts it as the main important need for it for the person to be a vegetarian, because that is what will develop the right muscle memory and biomemory for the person to radiate the powers of Paramashiva, which is what we are born, which we have come here to do in the first place. The true purpose of human existence is to manifest the powers and to radiate Paramashivatva in our life. Then why to even stop and waste time with the wrong kinds of practices which are blocking the very purpose of our existence, why we have come here, what we have come here to do, isn't it?
Yes, Maharaj. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism tells us the importance of staying away from the chemical-based food, especially if we are living the life where we are going to be power manifestors. We have to be watching the food that we eat. He says that he was saying that he can help us lift a 500 kgs weight just by a look, just by the initiation and the awakening of the Kundalini inside us. He can help us to lift 500 kilos of weight. Wow. But if we have 5 grams of the toxins of the chemicals that are given by non-vegetarian diet, and the world diet that is there in the world today that is having so much of chemicals to preserve and to keep it lasting on the shelf for a long time, and as you said, food-like products. And like if you have these kind of food, that will have so much of toxins, and these will be there latent in our system. 5 grams of toxins, even if you're sitting with a body with 5 grams of these toxins, they are dead weight. Literally, you will not be able to manifest the powers. Wow. And this is such a dire importance on how the vegetarian food and the vegetarian diet is going to be the future that many people will have to be able to change and look into, actually.
I remember one statement which the Supreme Pontiff he made, very jokingly he made, that many disciples, when they come, they ask, Swamiji, how was I able to manifest powers, so many powers? When I came to Kailasa, when I joined the program, I was able to manifest so many powers. And when I leave, it's not happening that much. So simply he gave the answer, just because of that food, you were able to manifest powers. It was not because of you. You have to work on it, that is separate. But just because of the food that was available in the Kailasa ecosystem, the being was able to radiate powers left and right. So that is the whole aspect, right? Just the right food itself has the ability to make a person manifest powers. That is the kind of importance which we are talking about when Paramashiva himself has given these directions of the right food for you, what you're supposed to eat, how you're supposed to cook, each and every things. He means it. He knows it is good for you. It is what will align you to the true purpose of your existence and make you manifest Paramashiva ultimately, right? That's why even having the right vegetarian sattvic food properly cooked as per the agamas, as per the shastras, they can make a person manifest powers as well.
Yeah. Right. So what is on your plate matters, and because that is going to go into you, what is in your what is in your toilet, you have to flush, and it does not matter because it is out of you. But what in your plate matters because it is going to go into you. Yes. And that is what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shares. Understand, but all of you treat almost both like the same. And then this doesn't matter, then that doesn't matter. No, that may not matter, but this matters. That what is there on your plate matters, and what is out of you, what comes out of you doesn't matter at all. But we treat it as the same, and we put that which should come out of us on the plate, and we can't speak anything more after that. But your brain is constructed for all these higher things to manifest powers, to be able to express higher clarity and intelligence and focus in our lives, to be able to do whatever it is that we want. And you don't know how much focus and how much clarity and how much just peace happens when you just change what you eat and what you put inside your body. So much of benefits are there that we are enjoying as Hindus, and we have been enjoying since the time immemorial, and being able to contribute to the world in so many different ways, just because we have carried these values of having a vegetarian diet. And not just that, we worship Gomata, we worship all of life. That is the lifestyle that we have. Yes. And as Maharaj, we want to also thank all of those who are giving us comments and sharing their thoughts. Jaya Kumar Sundaramurthy, Namaskaram. He has wished us, and others are also interested in also talking more about the vegetarian topic.
Yes.
Everybody's excited always when it comes to because I think in the world today, many people see this as a day-to-day thing, coming across people who are living in the diet of the non-vegetarian lifestyle, and the conversations also, maybe the first few things that people have about life is probably the food that we eat.
Yes,
it's one of the basic things. And thank you so much for giving your comments and adding to the discussion on vegetarianism.
Yes, and we would appreciate you to continue commenting whenever you will watch this video, even if not live later on. Keep posting your comments, keep in getting involved in these discussions, and that's what will bring the best out of these sessions and these segments when we are sharing the truths from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, and how beneficial each and every aspect of Hinduism, of Sanatana Hindu Dharma that he's reviving is for human beings, is for today's modern day humanity. And I think this is it's time for us to now close today's exciting segment on food and vegetarian diet and how it forms the core aspect of the Hindu lifestyle, the successful Hindu lifestyle.
And before we end, Maharaj, we want to invite all of us
Yes.
who are watching to immediately you can join the Paramashivoham immediately. The sessions are going on every day, and it is an exciting opportunity to be able to have the darshan of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
Absolutely.
Every day these sessions are going. Register right now and join the sessions of Paramashivoham right away. It is there. The link is also there, presented before in the scroll below, as well as the QR code. You can scan the QR code and register your intention for Paramashivoham. We'll contact you and give you the necessary information for you to join the program right away.
Yes.
Just wanted to add that, Maharaj, and we can now lead to the satsang.
Yes. So now we are moving to the most awaited segment of today's show on Nithyananda TV, the segment of Nitya Satsang, the daily darshan and discourse words from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. But before we move to that segment, it's important that we prepare ourselves so that we are in the right space and the right inner space is carried inside us to receive the darshan and having the darshan of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So let's lead into a small meditation and prepare ourselves for the upcoming segment of Nitya Satsang. So please sit with your head, neck, and spine in a straight line, with our bodies completely relaxed, taking our awareness throughout the body from top to bottom, relaxing each and every part of our body, breathing deeply and slowly, completely unclutching from all thoughts and mental activity. Let's carry a sense of devotion, gratitude, and feeling connection towards the Paramavatara of Paramashiva, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. Visualize Paramashiva in your third eye, keeping your two eyes closed. Visualize Paramashiva and with bright golden light, with 25 heads, 50 hands, and 75 eyes. And chant the Mahavakya, Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. And let the Mahavakya reverberate in your entire being, your entire body, as we prepare ourselves to receive the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. So let's now chant the Mahavakya and lead to the Nithyananda Satsang.
Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
सदाशिवसमारम्भां नित्यानन्देश्वरि मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I welcome all the participants of International Vegetarian Union, Asian Vegetarian Union and Malaysian Vegetarian Society gathered in Putra World Trade Center, Kuala Lumpur. I welcome all of you with my love and respects. And I welcome all the important personalities gathered in the conference, Chairman of the International Vegetarian Union, Marley Winkler, President of Asian Vegetarian Union, Professor Boli, Chairman of Malaysian Vegetarian Society, Dr. P. Vaidyalingam, Secretary of Malaysian Vegetarian Society, Mr. Krishna, Treasurer of Malaysian Vegetarian Society, Mr. Rajkumar, Master Limbun Tiom from Federation of Ikuan Tao Association Malaysia, Datto Vaidyalingam, social activist, and all other delegates from all over the world, and our devotees, disciples who are sitting with us for the Nitya Satsang. I welcome all of you with my love and respects. Happy to be with you all on 41st International Vegetarian Union World Veg Fest and 6th Asian Vegetarian Congress at Kuala Lumpur, celebrating 108th year of the Vegetarian Union. I'll try to present few facts and truths in front of you. Today's subject is awakening the potential bioenergy, your Kundalini energy. In Sanskrit, we have the word Kundalini. The equivalent English word can be awakening the inner potential energy, potential bioenergy. Through the diet, awakening your potential energy. We need to look into few truths. Please understand, I am not going to speak about all the benefits of vegetarian lifestyle because all of you know enough, and I can give tons and tons of material. The solid researches done by great universities, published in many medical journals. But now I am going to address a very important need for the human beings for their physical, psychological, social fulfillment. Awakening their potential energy, the inner potential energy, potential bioenergy. When this energy is awakened, the possibilities open up for you, and how this can be awakened through the vegetarian diet, sattvic diet. All of us know the health benefits of vegetarian food. I am not going to get into that now. I am really going to look into what is inner potential energy, bioenergy energy. The first important fact I wanted to present to all of you, you have more possibility than you are. This is the beginning of life. This truth, you have more possibility than you are, is the beginning of life in any philosophy, any way of living, any way of thinking, any way of living, any system of thinking, or any religious thinking tradition. You have more possibility than what you are now. That more possibility is what we call bioenergy, inner potential energy. In Sanskrit, we have the word Kundalini. You can see in your own life when your power of feeling, your power of emotions expressed along with your power of words and power of thinking, the energy you express will be totally different. I'll give you this example. When you utter some words, if your feeling is not associated with it, you know very clearly what kind of impact you create through that word inside you and outside you. Even while you are thinking, if your feeling is not associated with it, what kind of impact the thinking does inside you and outside you. Feeling infuses energy into your thinking and words. There is something in you infuses energy into your feeling. That is what we call Kundalini, bioenergy, biomemory, inner potential energy. All these different words are used, but it explains, expresses this one concept. The power which resides in you and gives power to your feeling. All of you can understand how your power gives life to you. You all know if your feeling is associated with certain word, how that word becomes alive for you. If your feeling is associated with your thinking, how that thinking becomes alive for you. But unfortunately, we do not know how our feeling gets empowered. The energy which empowers your feeling is inner potential energy, the bioenergy. Now, I wanted you to understand how the various diets impact that inner potential energy. First truth I wanted to present in front of all of you, you become what you eat. Anything you eat, that becomes you. One part of what you eat becomes your bone, muscle, flesh, blood. One part of what you eat becomes your words. One part of what you eat becomes your thinking. One part of what you eat becomes your feeling. One part of what you eat becomes your being. So the first truth I presented is about what is inner potential energy, Kundalini Shakti, what is bioenergy or biomemory. Second truth I am presenting in front of all of you, a very important truth. You become what you eat. Now, with these two understanding, look at your life. What you are eating, how it is impacting your thinking, feeling, words, and finally actions. Last but not the least, you need to understand there is no such thing as inanimate in the universe, whether it is human being or a stone in the street. The variation is only degree of life, not the existence of life. Please understand. The variation is only the degree of life, not the existence of life. Whether it is a human body or the stone in the street, only the degree of life. So, we need to understand when we kill an animal for our food and consume that as a food, what all the effects happening to our inner potential energy. And if we eat vegetarian sattvic diet, the word sattvic means pure. I'll define that word later. If we eat the pure diet, what happens to our inner potential energy? First, I'll try to explain the power, how the non-vegetarian food, the body of any animal, what happens when it was killed, and what happens when you eat that flesh. Please listen. Our flesh has a capacity to store the memory. All our memories are stored, recorded in our flesh. You can call it as different names. You can call it as a muscle, bone marrow, bone, different names you can give, but it is stored in our body. In that you can give a deeper inner names, brain, heart, liver, kidney, different names of the organs. But the ultimate truth I wanted to present all of you, memories get stored in our flesh, in our body. That is why certain memories, when they are rekindled in you, certain organs in your body gets immediately affected. I can give the example. If you become upset, start feeling depressed, immediately your stomach will be attacked. You will have stomach upset. because the depression attacks the navel center. In Sanskrit we have a word, Manipuraga chakra, the energy center situated in the navel. So each emotion, each memory heals or kills, makes or breaks certain part of your body. Your emotions and your body is very closely connected because your memories are recorded in your body. When an animal is killed, the animal is not going to be blessing all of us and the world when it is dying. Naturally, it is going to express so much of hatred, fear, anger, unfulfilled desire for life, a deep incompletion. When it is dying, it is going to release such powerful incompletion into its muscle memory, into its biomemory, into its body. Please understand, it carries a subtle but very powerful poisonous toxins, because every time you are affected, you are attacked by the emotions like fear, anger, anxiety, powerlessness, incompletion, you know the amount of adrenaline happens in your life, amount of the toxic chemicals spreads in your body. When you are raging with anger, you know what happens to your system. When you are agitated, you know what happens to your system. Please understand, the same thing exactly happens to the animal which is getting killed for various reasons. So the animal is not going to die in the space of completion, blessing all of us and the whole world. No. It is going to die, leaving so much of incompletion into its body. Please understand, when you eat that body, what are you eating? Poisonous, toxic chemicals, the flesh filled with so much of negative ideas, flesh filled with so much of negative memories, so much of incompletions. So the basic truth, when you eat food filled with so much of incomplete biomemory, incomplete bioenergy, the incomplete memories, what is going to happen to our muscle memory and biomemory, to our body? Please understand, your muscle memory or biomemory is going to be created only out of what you eat. The subtlest part of your food becomes your muscle memory. Subtlest part of your food becomes your biomemory. If the subtlest part of your food is associated with so much of fear, anxiety, unfulfilled desire for life, and incompletion, then what kind of biomemory, muscle memory it is going to create in your body, you have to decide. You can visualize. Sometimes people ask me, then how come people who eat non-vegetarian seems to be leading a so-called normal life? Who said? Who said they are eating normal life? Please understand. Look at the depression ratio. Look at the people suffering with the depression and the countries suffering with highest crime rates. You can directly connect the both to their diet. There are tons and tons of research papers available in the internet. You can study. Tons and tons of social surveys available in the net. You can study. You need to understand, see the non-vegetarian food-based society and vegetarian food-based society, see the crime rate and their depression. Then you will understand the question itself is wrong. Please understand, vegetarian, all the surveys prove vegetarians are happier than meat eaters, and all the surveys prove vegetarians are more non-violent in their thinking and feeling and in their actions than meat eaters. Study in Nutrition Journal finds vegetarians have lower incidence of depression, anxiety and other mood problems than their meat-eating neighbors. So you need to know, you become what you eat. In Sanskrit, we have a beautiful verse by one of the great saint, a sage, Adi Shankara. Purifying your food purifies your memory. When your memory is purified, your consciousness is purified. When the consciousness is purified, all the blessings of life is showered on you. Please listen. You become what you eat. Based on what you eat, your body is created. Your biomemory is created. Your bioenergy is created. So if you add continuously food filled with incompletion, fear, depression, anxiety, then what are you going to experience constantly inside you? Only that. So when you see a non-veg food in your plate, be very clear. You are taking plate full of depression, plate full of fear, plate full of anxiety, plate full of chemicals and toxins released during the fear when the animal is being terrorized, and plate full of incompletions. Look with this understanding and then decide, should you eat this or not? Second line, I wanted to go to the next truth, next idea I wanted to present in front of all of you. The pure food. How the vegetarian food is going to help you to awaken your biomemory. People ask me, how can you say vegetarian food is good? How can you say the vegetarian food is right? I face hundreds of questions all over the world about this food, because food and our emotions are very closely associated. That is why all over the world, in all cultures, whenever you want to show somebody, tell somebody you love them, you share food with them. Sharing food is a very important show of love among the human beings. I can say even among the animals. Even among the animals, they share food only when they feel the friendliness, when they wanted to show the friendliness. I'll talk about this purity of food and how it directly awakens your biomemory and bioenergy and ultimately the Kundalini Shakti, the inner potential energy. First thing you need to know, your body is naturally designed for vegetarian food. Your body is naturally designed for vegetarian food, and the inner mechanisms like your feeling, thinking, words, everything is designed to function with vegetarian food. It is like you have a generator which can handle only 220 volt current, or you have a UPS which can handle only 220 volt current, but you give 20,000 volt current, what will happen? It will get fused. Same way, if the system is designed by the nature for vegetarian food and you go on dumping non-vegetarian food into it due to ignorance, we have to face the result. Many people present the arguments, no, in the ancient times human beings were non-vegetarian. No, they were fruit eaters. They were vegetarians, leaf eaters, fruit eaters. Only when they started killing the animals to save themselves, to protect themselves, they started thinking, disposing them is a very difficult job. Eating them may be a better way of disposal. That is the way first human beings started making their stomach as graveyard for animals. Understand, originally we are not designed for meat eating. Basically our body is designed for vegetarianism. People ask me, how can you say that? I can give you hundreds of reasons. Look at the jaw movements. There is no vegetarian animal which has a side jaw movement. Please listen. Sorry, I wanted to correct the statement. All non-vegetarian animals will have only the vertical movement of the jaws, no side movements. All vegetarian animals only will have the side jaw movements. So human beings naturally have the side movements of the jaw, the horizontal movements of the jaws. It means we are designed for vegetarian food. Unfortunately, we have the freedom to do anything we want and we misused and abused the freedom. Vegetarian animals are better because they do not have the freedom. It's good in a way. Sometimes if you don't have a freedom to abuse your body, you can see all the animals The vegetarian animals, they will have vertical and horizontal, both movements of the jaw. But all non-vegetarian animals will have only the vertical movement of the jaw. Sorry. All the non-vegetarian animals will have only the vertical movement. Vegetarian animals will have vertical and horizontal, both movements. And next point I wanted to present to all of you is the length of our intestine, the intestinal tract length. And our bowels, the way they are designed, it is for vegetarianism, because the length is more than 10 or 12 times of the body length. The alkaline saliva to predigest plant foods, the bowels with pockets for optimal nutrition absorption. All this, our teeth structure with flat molars, all are very clear indications nature has designed our body to be vegetarians. We are born to be vegetarians. I tell you, if the majority population of the country decides, of a society decides, of a humanity decides to live with vegetarian food, the agitation human beings experience, the depression human beings experience, the fear human beings experience will drastically drop, and that will really help the peace and joy, prosperity of humanity. Let me come back to the subject of awakening your bioenergy, Kundalini energy, through the proper diet, pure diet. The food, if it is consumed without fear, anxiety, depression, biomemories, like non-vegetarian food, please understand, the food without anxiety, fear, depression, biomemories, if they are consumed the energy with which you think, the energy with which you utter words, the energy with which you act, energy with which you feel, everything will be aligned to the natural source of energy. It will be aligned to your nature, which is your inner potential energy. Unfortunately, the food with fear, depression, anxiety, biomemory, because of its popularity and availability, became a mainstream lifestyle. I can say this is one of the greatest calamity happened to humanity. The non-vegetarian lifestyle is one of the greatest calamity happened to humanity. Because when you eat the pure food, let me define purity. The food In Sanskrit, we have 3 words: jati dosha, nimitta dosha, asraya dosha. Means a food getting impure by its nature, by its muscle memory, and by the persons handling it. Please understand. First, by its nature. If it is obtained by stealing or killing or depriving somebody, it is impure food. Because if it is stolen food, even while you eat, you will have the anxiety to quickly grab it, finish it off, before it gets snatched away from your hands. By the nature, if it is stolen, robbed, after killing, it is impure. In the first level itself, I can say non-vegetarian food is impure because we steal the flesh of an animal. We steal it after killing it. So it is murder and robbing. Second, nimitta dosha. The way the food comes to you, when it comes to you, the non-vegetarian food comes with so much of anger, fear, depression, biomemories filled in it. So again, it can never be near anywhere to the pure food. Third, ashraya dosha, the people who handle it, touch it. Surely a non-vegetarian food is going to be touched by the people who kill the animal. The person who kills the animal is going to handle and make the food for you. Anything which is touched by a murderer is going to carry that energy, that aura, that biomemory in it. So he adds little more poison as his contribution. Then understand the impurity, the amount of impurity the non-vegetarian food carries. In turn, the vegetarian food, let us look at the vegetarian food, which is natural part of your whole bioenergy. And I tell you from my experience with myself and my millions of followers and disciples all over the world, your mood swings, the way you decide things in your life, the way you feel about you, the way you feel about the world, everything changes when your diet becomes vegetarian. Because with the vegetarian diet, the thinking becomes more subtle and settled. The agitation, aggression disappears. I've seen in my life, in my travels all over the world, meeting different cultures, civilization, people. From that I can see very clearly. And I can tell you from my experience, people who live as vegetarians, their bioenergy is very high. Their biomemory is very high. I can give you various deeper understandings about it. Constantly the emotions you cherish becomes source of your bioenergy. Whatever is source of your bioenergy impacts your thinking. Please understand, it's like a vicious circle. It's like one feeds the other. If you are constantly agitated, having depression, that becomes your bioenergy. If depression and agitation becomes your bioenergy, naturally you tend to think towards more depression and more agitation. So what you think becomes your bioenergy. What is your bioenergy forms the basis for your thinking. With this understanding, you can decide on your own whether vegetarian food leads you to more agitation, depression, or non-vegetarian food leads you to more agitation and depression. You can test on your own body. I tell you, testing it on yourself will be the best way to realize the power of vegetarian food. Testing it on your own is the best way to realize the power of pure food in your life. Never ever eat anything which can feel the emotions in your frequency. Please understand, plants do not feel the suffering or pain or emotions in your level of frequency, because the degree of life in them is different, and your body is also naturally designed for eating vegetables, fruits, and the vegetarian diet. So you are going with your natural flow. I can tell you, just the right food, the pure food, which is pure by its nature, by right persons handling it, and right way it is brought to you. This pure food alone is enough to kindle, awaken the natural energy you are carrying, what I call Kundalini Shakti, or inner potential energy, or your bioenergy. In India, we have a unique tradition. All human beings who are seeking the higher life is expected to live vegetarian lifestyle, but specifically in particular months of a year, everyone is asked to be vegetarian. It is very surprising. Those few months exactly, the whole country crime rate goes lower than the level it is in other months. And when you take the vegetarian food, you also awaken your biomemory to be directly producing the food and energy from the space directly, just like plants and trees. See, plants and trees carries a quality or intelligence. They produce their energy directly from the sun and ether, from air. They directly produce life energy from the sun, air, and earth and water. When you are regularly eating only vegetarian food consciously, your biomemory, your bioenergy also can awaken the same quality. Please understand, if you can take a little support from the conscious source like meditation or little yoga, you can see very clearly that possibility in your biomemory is awakened. I have seen in my own life hundreds of yogis, my followers, disciples, start living without even having regular eating habits. They eat once in a while. When I say once in a while, maybe once in a week. There are some who eat only once in a month. That also they take just little juice or little water. With that they are able to live. It is possible if you eat vegetarian food and awaken the same biomemory, awaken the same bioenergy which plants carry. And many of them, through this lifestyle, have overcome blood pressure, cholesterol, so many health benefits. See, ultimately, you cannot convince somebody about the benefits of swimming till he jumps into the water. Ultimately, I cannot convince you about the right effects of eating vegetarian food just by my words. You have to start eating and living. That will help you to understand. I will present just few of the surveys and scientific studies we have done. In my various researches and my journey of teaching people, educating people, we have a program helping people to go beyond the need for food, awakening their biomemory and bioenergy. We call it Nirahara Samyama in Sanskrit. Living beyond food, breaking your food patterns, which is active visualization meditations, breathing process to awaken your consciousness. Through this method, which I have initiated thousands worldwide, we have proved scientifically that without food, in the beginning we request them to have vegetarian diet, then after that we reduce even that very systematically. In this research we have seen very stable weight loss, and in 90% of the people the cholesterol drastically reduces to the healthy level. Increase in vitamin B1 and B2 and B12 levels in 92% of the participants. Increase in vitamin D in 100% participants. 70% gain in hemoglobin level. 85% decrease in urea level. Please understand, whatever I am speaking is the data from the scientific study and the survey we have conducted. These medical miracles like recovery from serious life-threatening illnesses like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, high cholesterol, chronic fatigue, low thyroid and depression. All this is recorded medically. When you start practicing this vegetarian lifestyle and moving to the next step, going even beyond food. Now I will not talk much about this going beyond food. I'll stop myself, I'll restrict myself to this vegetarian diet. With the vegetarian diet, not only you don't get the wrong biomemories like a fear, depression, anxiety, which you get from meat eating. You get the right biomemories through vegetarian diet. The right biomemories you get from the vegetarian diet is the ability to produce energy directly from the space and air, just through the water. I really sincerely request all of you to experiment with this vegetarian lifestyle. Starting today, just for a few months, try for next 3 months, eat only vegetarian food and see the difference in the way you will feel with your life, the way you feel about you, the way you think about you, the way the words come out of you and the words you utter towards you. Everything will change drastically. The difference in your physical health, in your mental health, your relationships, and even in your wealth and career. You need to know. You need to understand. The life surely becomes much, much better, especially the way you feel about you becomes totally different with vegetarian lifestyle. I also wanted to explain these few words for your deeper understanding. Muscle memory means your day-to-day routine patterns, like morning you wake up, you take bath, you eat. Second, biomemory means your pattern of thinking and feeling, your mood swings, how you respond when you face a conflict in the life, how you react for a contradiction, how you react for a difficult situations. That is your biomemory. I tell you, if you understand this truth, you become what you eat. What you eat becomes you. You can see very clearly how the non-vegetarian food, the meat, comes with so much of depression, anxiety, anger, mood swing, which is going to become simply part of your biomemory and muscle memory. How the vegetarian food comes to you with higher intelligences like producing energy directly from ether, air and space and going to become part of you. You can see experientially by living it. People ask me sometimes many questions. Swamiji, if we eat meat, Are we passing the bio-memories of pain and fear to our future children also? Yes. You are passing it to your whole generation, because the meat continuously eating, it is going to become part of your bio-memory. The anxiety, fear, suffering, torture, which the animal experienced while it was killed, will become part of your bio-memory, will become part of you, and that bio-memory, that bioenergy, which will become part of you, will naturally be transferred. The pain and the fear and the anxiety and insecurity, the subtle grooves which develops in your brain through the vegetarian food, will give you really the power to think without getting tired, power to feel without getting tired, the power to utter right words at right time in right space. So, the essence of this 1 hour presentation in front of all of you is vegetarian food by its nature, the way it comes to you, the way you consume it, awakens your bioenergy, biointelligence, biomemory, and keeps your muscle memory pure, keeps you more healthy, more alive, more inspired, more intelligent, more excited, more living. Let you all achieve, experience, live, express, radiate, share, and explode in eternal bliss. Nithyananda.
Nithyananda Dhyanapitham, Nithyananda Nagar, off Mysore Road, Bidadi, Bengaluru. Phone 08027279999. www.nithyananda.org. www.youtube.com/Life Bliss Foundation.
ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய்